As a salesperson, it was often like, what am I doing? I can't do this. No one listens to me. Well, this product or service is awful. I'm not good at this, right? Sometimes you're that leader and you're like, hey, why did they pick me? Like, who's going to listen? Who's going to
Yeah.
listen to me with my experience? And even as a husband or father, it's, hey, I'm not a good dad. I keep telling I'm going to do things for my kids and I don't keep my promises, right? Or I said maybe the same things with my wife. And so I think if you don't start by changing that inner narrative, it doesn't matter. So back to that question, that's I think the greatest work I've done is change the way I think and talk about myself. And then it's do and change the things I'm doing after I change the way I am or believe first.
So that brings the question of you said the what. It is changing that inner talk, being able to acknowledge and transfer or transform that inner talk into something that is helping you. How did you do that?
It didn't happen overnight. I wish it was like I can talk about it simply, and it's also in my opinion, I wouldn't say that it's not easy, it's just not it usually doesn't happen in, 1 30-minute session working on this kind of stuff. But for me, it's first it's being aware of those thoughts. Like, what
Yes.
is it going through my mind every day? What are these limiting beliefs? If I had to write those down and I mean, if you take 5 or 10 minutes and like, "Hey, okay, what are all the things I don't believe about myself?" And you start
Mhm.
thinking about it, you can come up with a long list pretty quick. The crazy thing is those go through our mind every day and we don't think about those even happening very often. And so I found just in starting to say some of those things out loud, you realize how ridiculous they are. Like some of the thoughts you have about yourself are things like I would never say to anyone else. Maybe someone has said one of these things about me before, but it's like no one talks as bad about Drew Norton as Drew Norton does. I
Yeah.
found.
Yeah.
And so starting with those, acknowledging that it happened, forgiving yourself for thinking that way, and then creating a new thought or a new thing you're going to believe. And for me, I found the only way I can change my thoughts is I've got to change the way I speak. Part of that goes back to sales, right? But I've got to speak differently about myself. Uh, I've got to stop, for example, I've got to stop saying I don't deserve things, or I've got to stop apologizing when I want something big in my life. And it's just changing the way you talk.
No, there are two things that come to mind, which is out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so those things that you are believing about yourself are things that you are verbalizing. And then there's another one that talks about you will eat the fruit of your lips. So those things that you say are the things that actually happen in life. And so, for me, the everything that you said, absolutely agree. You're acknowledging it, you're forgiving yourself. The other wrinkle that I would add for me personally is noticing when I'm not doing something that I said I wanted to do or that I said I was going to do, and just having that filter of noticing, wait a minute. I wrote my goals down. I said that I was going to be working on this, but every time I go to do it, something stops me. Why is that? And so many times for me, that starts that investigation of acknowledging what's really going on. Let me dig a little bit deeper and what is getting in the way of me actually being able to move forward.
Yeah, I love that. I love that distinction too, because if you want to build trust with others, you got to do what you say you'll do. If you want to build confidence with yourself, you've got to do the things you tell yourself you're going to do. Like if you wake up every day and say, I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow, and you don't go to the gym, then every time you say that, you lose confidence around that. And so part of even saying those things about yourself or talking more powerfully about yourself, whether that's an affirmation, a declaration, or just your language with others, part of for me is like when I say how I'm going to show up as a dad because I'm committed to it to my kids. I notice it when I don't, and I feel more empowered when I do.